A very good afternoon to all of you. So, good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, Jai Hind. I hope each one of you are doing great. In the previous sessions, we had started off with our class 8th NCERT. Now, this NCERT has been making direct references to the syllabus of Indian polity. So, in this session, we would start off with the most important topic of the complete Indian polity, that is the parliament. Now, through this topic of parliament, we will be able to learn many things. First and foremost is that this parliament is the part that ensures the direct applicability as well as execution of the democratic principles as have been underlined in the Indian Constitution. Clear? Okay. So, by and large, talking about the parliament will let us understand that how the voices of the people finally culminate into proper governance of the country. Clear? So, a very good afternoon to all of you who have joined me now in this session. I welcome each one of you here, and today we will be discussing this topic of parliament. Clear? So, even though we might have heard of about the parliament a lot, okay, currently also there has been an ongoing session of the parliament, and currently also the people have been trying to raise their voices to that level. So in India, when everything finally evolves from the concept of democracy, okay, so as an Indian, we take pride in being called part of the largest democracy of the world. But how essentially the people participate in the decision making, and how does the democratic government work? Okay, how does the democratic government works with the consent of the people? That is something that has to be understood. Clear? Chaliye. So, very good afternoon to all of you who have joined me now in this session. I welcome each one of you here. So, this is again a very, very important topic that we will be discussing in our session today. Clear? So, all of you who have joined me in this session, please do let me know, am I audible loud and clear? Am I audible loud and clear? Please do let me know in the comment section, because this parliament essentially is the essence, okay? Or if we have to talk about your preparation of Indian polity, then this parliamentary system is the most important topic, because this single topic lets you understand the working of the polity in our country. Clear? So, in the examination, there have been very large amount of questions that have been asked around the functions of the parliament, the concept of sovereignty, the concept of participation of the people. Okay. So, if we talk about around this topic, previously we have learned a thing that how elections are the first way for a citizen to express his or her opinion. Okay, so elections are one of the most simple ways to express the opinion of the people. Now, in this entire opinion building process, in this entire democratization process, the parliament is essentially placed at the center. And this is something that reflects the collective aspirations of the 140 billion people. Clear? So, this is at the center of the aspirations of these people. Now, for many of you, parliament would be nothing more than a building that has been established in the national capital region. Okay. And according to you, it is only the government that has been doing so. So, first and foremost, let me tell you that what essentially is the working of parliament and how essentially the parliament works. Okay. So, first and foremost, remember one thing. When we talk about our parliament is a combination of three major uh, things. Okay. Now, in this parliament, we have the President of India and we have the two houses of legislation. Okay. In this houses of legislation, we have the Rajya Sabha, okay, and we have the Lok Sabha. This Rajya Sabha is Council of States and this Lok Sabha is House of People. Now in India, the people, they elect their representatives and those representatives have different responsibilities. Clear? This is how the government in our country works. Now, central to this principle is this parliament. Okay. And this parliament is the key legislative organ. Okay. Now, key legislative organ means key or the main law making organ. But the parliament's role is not just limited to law making. Parliament has got variety of roles. Clear? Okay. And if you would understand the working of parliament, you will understand that how parliament multitasks. Clear? So, as a citizen of the country, which is based upon democratic values, okay, in our country, we have diversified voices. Okay, the people from diversified backgrounds, diversified thoughts, they want the country to be governed in a diversified manner. Clear? So let us understand that what does this parliament does. Okay. Now, if we talk about the functions, the first function is lawmaking. Okay. Lawmaking is the principal task. ठीक? Currently, you would have seen that there are news that various laws are being discussed. Okay, how those laws will be made? Okay, any discussion would happen in these houses of parliament. Clear? There will be discussions in the houses of parliament, and when a proposal is passed or is deliberated upon by these houses, then it is sent to the President of India, and it is the finally the President of India who will give his or her assent to this proposal before it becomes a law. Okay, recently you would have seen that FCRA bill is in news. Okay, now there how these things would work. Okay, and why and how the people can contribute to lawmaking is when we understand this role of parliament. Clear? So the ultimate question arises is that why do we need a parliament? Clear? Now parliament ultimately is required for lawmaking. Along with lawmaking, Parliament also does a very important thing. Okay, that is control over executives. Okay, you have seen that a process, okay, like removal of the president, it happens through the parliament. Okay, now previously we have seen how a prime minister uh, is nominated. Okay, now the prime minister and his council of ministers, after the elections to the Lok Sabha are conducted, whosoever, okay, the party gets the majority, they choose their own leader. Okay, and leader of the majority is called the prime minister. Clear? So prime minister and the council of ministers, they are collectively responsible to the parliament and more specifically to the lower house of the parliament. Clear? Now, along with this, parliament also undertakes various tasks. Okay, parliament also exercises control over the finances of the country. Clear? So it also has a financial responsibility to play. Clear? So these are three major responsibility that the parliament does. Okay, and all of these responsibilities, they are undertaken through the democratic principles. Clear? So parliament is essentially a place where laws are made, policies are discussed, the government's performance is also scrutinized. Okay, so we can understand the foundational principles of our constitution are often implemented through the parliament. Clear? Okay. Now, these in Rajya Sabha, there are total strength of Rajya Sabha is 250. Okay. In this 250, there are 238 elected plus 12 nominated members. Okay. Now, current strength of this Rajya Sabha is 245. 233 elected and 12 nominated members. Clear? Okay, so first I'm giving you an overview. Okay, then we will have this topic, and as the topic proceeds, we will be discussing everything. Okay, in the Lok Sabha, there are total 550 members. Okay, all of these members, they are elected members. Clear? Now, current strength is 543. 543 is the current strength. Now, all of you might have this doubt as to why there is a gap. Okay, when current strength is higher, why the current strength is less, why the effective strength is less now? Now, this backlog, okay, or the difference, that is, herein we have difference of 5 seats. Okay, here we have difference of 7 seats. Clear? Now, this is primarily due to the vacancies that have been arising due to the places wherein the government of India currently does not exercise the control. Okay, the area that has been occupied illegally by China, the area of India that is occupied illegally by Pakistan. Okay, so these seats basically belong to those Indian territories which are under enemy occupation. Okay, and thus the current strength is usually lesser. Clear? So this is the basic that you must understand. Okay, so now we will be jumping onto the topic, but this is what you need to understand about the topic of parliament, or what effectively does the parliament work. Clear? I hope all of you have been getting this. Clear? So we have seen that in this parliament, okay, if you have to see this working of the parliament, you will understand that it is the most essential piece in so as to understand the ideals of democracy. Okay? Now, this parliament, it enables the citizen of India to participate in decision making and control the government. Now, you will have a question as to, sir, why? How does they control the government? So just remember, okay, in this parliament, we have got the members, okay, the member of parliament of ruling political party as well as the opposition parties. Clear? Now, in a healthy democracy, the role of opposition is also very important. Clear? Because it is the opposition that ensures accountability of the people. Okay, that ensures accountability of the government. Clear? So when you understand the role of opposition, it is the opposition that ensures that the government keeps working for the benefit of the people. Okay. Now, the question comes up is as to why should people decide this? Okay. Now, what is the role of people in this? Okay. Always remember one thing, that the ultimate concept on which parliament lands is the concept of consent. Okay, democracy is what? Democracy is consent. Clear? So, even though we know that India, okay, it became independent in on 15th of August 1947, and prior to this 15th August 1947, the people had fought bravely against the occupants. Okay, now the biggest issue during the British rule was that the Britishers did not hear the Indians. Clear? The Britishers never acknowledged the demands of the Indians. Okay. And it is when that people from diversified social backgrounds started to join the national movement. Clear? Now, people knew that these Britishers have been implementing the liberal ideas in their country. Okay, people knew that Britishers have been giving fundamental rights to their own people. Okay, Britishers have been giving liberty overall globally. People knew that the concepts of freedom, equality, participation in decision making lies, but it is the British that do not give them. Okay, so it was under the British rule that people always lived in fear. Okay, and even though they did not agree with the British decision, they just had to acknowledge it, they had to accept it. Okay, because the Indians did not have the permission to criticize these decisions. Okay, and this is what had led to the start of the freedom movement in the country. Clear? Now, after 1885, when Congress, okay, as an organization was set up. Okay. Now, what was the demand of Congress? The main demand of the Congress was not to attain independence, but the main demand of the Congress was to ensure accountability when it was formed. Okay, they wanted participation of the people. They wanted the people to decide that how the laws are made for the Indians, how the money of the Indians is spent over them. Clear? So this was something that was asked. Okay, and people and the leaders of Congress, Okay, they wanted that they should have the right to at least ask the questions from those who are governing them. Okay, now it was British who in 1909 they had allowed for some elected representation. Okay, even though separate electorates were also given in 1909. Okay, and the British representation which was given was very less, which was it was very selective. Clear? So there have been various legislations which were formed by the British. Okay, but the nationalist leaders, okay, always demanded that in India everything should be based upon voting rights. Clear? There must be rights. These rights must be given to people, and people must be allowed to choose their own representatives. Clear? Now, in the previous topics, we have studied a lot. Okay, we had seen about the British rule, we had seen the participation of the people. But now, in this topic, we understand that how after independence, the people of India got certain rights. Clear? Now, when India became independent, or even the Britishers were ruling, okay, when the accountability was less, the representation was less, at this moment of time, at that situation, the government was not in the position that it could do anything they wanted. Okay, and the main responsibility of the leaders was to fulfill the dreams and aspirations of the people. Okay, and it was through universal adult franchise that the adults of the country got the right to vote and to choose for their representatives. Clear? So always remember one thing, that the start point, okay, the start point or the takeoff point for a democracy is the consent, that is the desire, approval and participation of the people. Clear? So this is the underlying principle of a democratic structure. Clear? Always remember that in democracy, if your voice is not heard, then it is not a democracy. Clear? Now, in a democratic setup, in a setup like India, it is the decision of people that creates the democratic government and also decides the functioning. Okay. Now, when we talk about democracy, some simple terms we have heard. Okay. The government in India is for the people, by the people, and it is of the people. Clear? So this is the underlying concept of democracy. This is what a democracy explains, elaborates. Clear? So the underlying idea in the democratic setup is that the individual or the citizens are the most important people, because now in this democratic setup you will also understand that power is derived from the people. Clear? The power is ultimately derived from the people. Clear? It is the individual, it is the people who will give approval to the government. Okay. And this is, we have seen that one way of how approval is given is through elections. Clear? But the second way is the setup of parliament. In parliament, people have elected their representatives to do what? To work for the welfare of the people. Clear? So, and in these elected representatives only the government works. Clear? So, parliament, as I have told you previously, is made up of all representatives together, and these representatives, which are divided in the form of the ruling party and the opposition. Clear? They are the ones who essentially control and they guide the government. Clear? So it is the people of the country indirectly who have been ruling over the country. Clear? Okay, so these are some basic ideas that all of us have understood. Okay, now when we talk about the role of parliament, okay, We have seen that Parliament is basically what? Parliament is the confidence of the people, is the faith that the people of India have in the principles of democracy. The why people have chosen their representatives, because people know that when they will reach at the position, they will work for us. Clear? So these are the participation by the people in the decision making process, and the government does so by the consent. Clear? So Parliament as a system has the immense power because it has got the representatives that have been elected by the people themselves. Clear? So we have seen that Parliament functions in a very ordinary way. Clear? We have seen that the Lok Sabha is usually elected once every 5 years. Clear? So Rajya Sabha is popularly called the upper house. Okay? And it is the permanent house. Clear? Now, in this Rajya Sabha, the members are elected indirectly. Okay? And they are elected for a duration of 6 years at a time. Okay? And one third members retire every 2 years. Clear? So, this is an uh, indirect house. Rajya Sabha, the seats are decided for the states and not for the people. It is called the Council of States because the representation of every seat is fixed on the basis of proportional representation. Means that UP, that is the largest state. Okay, UP has got the largest representation in Rajya Sabha by virtue of its largest population. So they have got 31 seats in Rajya Sabha. Okay, now we need to understand that they, for Rajya Sabha, the elections are done indirectly. Okay, whereas Lok Sabha, it is popularly called the lower house. Okay, also called the temporary house. Okay, and elections, they take place in every 5 years. Clear? So elections to the Lok Sabha, they take place in every 5 years. Okay. Now in this Lok Sabha, our entire country is divided into 543 constituencies. Okay. So constituencies means that it is territorial areas. Okay. The entire country is divided into 543 territorial areas, and every constituency elects one member of parliament. Okay. Now the ratio of representative is to the population. It remains the same throughout the country. Clear? So for these 543 seats, okay, people from different political parties, they contest elections. Okay, and the citizens, they vote directly on the basis of universal adult franchise. Clear? So on the basis of universal adult franchise, it is the people who shall vote. Okay. Now in a data, this is after 2019 elections. 2019 elections. Okay. Now in this 2019 election, the BJP had got 303 seats. Okay. Now question comes up is that how much seats are required to form the government? Clear? So to form the government, you require 50% of 543 plus 1. So it comes out to be 272 seats. Okay. Now, this is the reason why you have seen that every political party says that we will be getting at least 272. 272 is their aim. Okay. So, this is how the political parties work. Okay. So, in this election also, this was essentially the result. Okay. And herein you can see that almost all political parties had participated in the election. Clear? Okay. Political parties had participated. Okay. And the leader of these political parties, now these 303 MPs, they decided their leader, and they decided that their leader is will be Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Okay. And thus Modi ji became the Prime Minister of the country. Clear? So this is how Lok Sabha, which has got direct representation from the people, okay, direct election, direct voting, they are the ones who are deciding with the democratic future of the country. Clear? So every individual who wins the election or gets elected, they become member of parliament, and these member of parliaments, they together make up the parliament. Clear? So once elections to the parliament have done, the parliament then undertakes various functions. Clear? Now, the first and the most important function of the parliament is essentially to select the national government. Now, this is the first responsibility that the parliament has. Okay. So, as I have told you, it is 272 members. Okay. Now, if any party gets 272, they are ready to stake their claim. Okay. For the prime ministership to form the government. In case the parties have got lesser seats, less than 272. Okay. In that situation, they take help from other political parties to gain support of 272, and then they form the government. Clear? So understand that these executives are the one for whom we are using the term government. Clear? So Prime Minister is the leader of ruling party. Okay. That party that has been chosen from the winners in Lok Sabha. Clear? Always remember, okay, the Prime Minister of India is the leader of ruling party in Lok Sabha when, if Prime Minister is MP of Lok Sabha. Okay. So just remember, now if these MPs have won the election, it is not mandatory on them to choose somebody from Lok Sabha only. They are free to choose their leader either from Lok Sabha or from Rajya Sabha, or they can also choose an ordinary man. Okay. Now, if somebody who is neither a member of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha has been chosen as the leader, or he becomes the Prime Minister, then within 6 months of him gaining the Prime Ministership, okay, that individual must also take up membership of either house. Clear? So this is the beauty. Okay, the elected representatives act as the voice of the people. Clear? Okay. Now, similarly, from these member of parliaments, which are members of the newly elected Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, the government shall also choose their own ministers. Okay. And then the Prime Minister allocates various portfolios to them, various ministership to them. Clear? So, we have seen that quite in some time. Okay. In 2014, the BJP government, they got full majority upon their own itself. Okay. Same happened in 20 they again saw the same happening in 2019. Okay. But in 2024, there was no single party that could get 272 seats on their own. Okay. So in this situation, various other political parties or various other member of parliaments, they come together to form the government, and such a government that is formed with the support of others is called the coalition government. Clear? Now in this we also see, in this we also see that the government, how essentially the government works, that is again a very important thing. Okay, now the government essentially works with the regular questions which are asked. Clear? So government gets valuable feedback. Okay, and the MPs, they keep on asking questions from the prime minister, from the concerned ministers to fix their accountabilities. Okay, and this is again a different way of setting up accountability of the individuals. Clear? So first was basically to select the national government. Okay, the second responsibility or the second function that the parliament does is basically to control, guide and inform the government. Okay, so parliament has got very essential functions. Okay, so on one side we had seen about the Lok Sabha, on the other hand is Rajya Sabha, and Rajya Sabha's primary function is to act as the representatives of the state. Okay, now Rajya Sabha, even though has got power to initiate bills, so in the upcoming sessions we will study about how bills are made. Okay, and it Rajya Sabha plays a very important role in reviewing and altering the working of the government. Clear? So in the case of Rajya Sabha also, the members of Rajya Sabha are elected by the elected members of state legislative assembly, that is the Vidhan Sabhas of the state. Okay, and 12 members are nominated by the president from the category of art, literature, science and social service. Clear? Now the second functions that parliament has to undertake is the to control, guide and inform the government. Clear? So the government, the parliament, while they are in session as currently things are going on. Now question comes up that how many sessions are there in parliament? Now in the constitution there is no fixed number of sessions that have been mentioned. Okay, constitution says that there should not be a gap of more than 6 months between two consecutive sessions of parliament. Okay, so parliament, there should not be any gap more than 2 months between two consecutive sessions. So as per the constitution, it has to be at least 2 times per year. But presently, we have got 3 sessions. Okay, first is the summer session. Okay, it starts in February, 1st of February. Second session is monsoon session, that is currently going on. Okay, usually in the month of June, July. Okay, and third is the winter session, usually in the month of November or December. Clear? So this is how the present parliament works. Okay, but constitutionally it is the 6 months principle that has to be followed. Okay, clear? So parliament has to undertake this very important responsibility to control, guide and inform the government. Clear? Now in the parliament there is a question hour. So first sitting, okay, of every session of parliament is called a question hour. In that question hour, the important mechanism is that MPs can ask a question from the government, the concerned ministers. Okay, and this is a very important way of controlling the executives in the country. Now, when questions are asked from the government, okay, government has to answer them. Clear? Now, how government has to answer them and why government has to answer them? because the government, by those questions, it is the shortcomings and the opinion of the people that is elicited. Clear? So the representatives, the member of parliaments, they ask questions from the government, and this is asked to fix the accountability of the government. Clear? And as I've told you in the starting, the opposition parties, they play a very important role in the healthy functioning of the democracy. Clear? At every moment of time, they would highlight the drawbacks of the government. Okay, they would highlight the shortcomings in the working of the government, the programs of the government, and they would also mobilize the support for their policies or to criticize the government. Clear? So this is how we can understand that the government through the opposition gets valuable feedback of their working, which keeps the government efficiently working. Clear? Now we have seen that this method wherein the opposition also has the right to ask question, that is the most assertive way of controlling the working of the government. Okay, so MPs as the representatives of the people, they play a central role in controlling, guiding and informing parliament, and with this essentially formulates the democratic ideals. Okay, now the next question comes up is that the main work of the parliament is to make laws. Okay, now how does the laws are made? Okay, now we will be discussing this topic in detail, also a very basic idea about how it has been elaborated in this topic. Clear? So parliament's most important role is to make laws. Okay, and there are many ways through which it takes place or the parliament makes laws. Clear? Now, this is an important role of the parliament, because by making laws, the parliament acknowledges and parliament reflects their sensitivity towards the problems which are being faced by the people. Clear? So, previously we have seen that very important issues are raised. Okay, we have seen that the government has made laws upon a very prominent societal issue like the domestic violence. Clear? The parliament approved it, parliament made the laws. Clear? So these laws, okay, for the protection of women from domestic violence act 2005 that was made, it extended the understanding of term domestic to include all women. Okay, the women who have been living or have lived together in shared household with the male members. Okay, and those male members, if they have been perpetrating violence upon the women, then the this domestic violence act, it essentially came into picture. Okay, so we have seen that several women organization, National Commission for Women, had made representations before the standing committees, permanent committees of the parliament. Okay, and it was in December 2002 that these standing committees, they submitted its recommendation to Rajya Sabha, and thus the bill was later on tabled in Lok Sabha also. Clear? After which it was in 2005. Okay, the final law came up. Okay, and it was called the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005, which became effective from 2006. Clear? So we can see that the government, through parliament, okay, the laws that are being made are basically to acknowledge the problems made by the faced by the people. Clear? Along with this, we have also seen that there have been various situations wherein parliament have passed laws that have turned out to be very unpopular. Okay, few years back we saw similar thing in the cases of farm laws. Okay, so even though a law can be constitutionally valid, okay, but it can be unpopular, it can be unacceptable to the people because they feel that it would be unfair and harmful to them. Okay, so people also criticize the law that is made. The people hold public meetings, they write letters to the newspapers, the newspaper also does the same, the TV channels debates happens. Clear? So the best thing in democracy is that citizens can also express their unwillingness to accept anything that is repressive. Okay, so even if a repressive law is made by the parliament, people can dissent, people can show their dissent. Okay, and we have seen that when a large number of people begin to feel that they have been wronged, okay, then there is pressure on the parliament. Parliament acknowledges them. Clear? So we have seen various laws previously that have been made and have come up under scrutiny of the parliament. Okay, so parliament is essentially, we need to understand that parliament is essentially the executioner of the democratic rights of the people. Okay, so our rights, our powers do not end once we have elected a citizen. Okay, once we have elected a representative. Okay, we have seen the power and responsibility is equally shared. Okay, so we must keep this in mind. Okay, that it is the people, okay, who essentially help the parliament to perform their functions through the representatives who have been there. Okay, we have seen that for the member of parliament who have been elected from a constituency, okay, a member of parliament local area development fund is also given to the MP, okay, so as to work for the upliftment of that area. Clear? So this is how we can see that parliament undertakes various functions. Okay, and parliament fulfills various responsibility for its people through the member of parliament who have been elected by the people of the country. Clear? Okay, so this is essentially the gist of this topic. Okay, now before moving ahead, let me remind you that please do join me on my Telegram channel, wherein I'll share all the PDF. You just need to scan this QR code and it will give you the access for my Telegram channel by the name Defense Decoded. Okay, along with it, just remember that our new batches, GS Foundation batches, are starting on 27th of July. Okay, and these batches are based upon the SMART model of preparation. Okay, now in this SMART model of preparation, let me remind you, you will gain an access to a dashboard, a customized dashboard that will keep a track of your performance, okay, of your preparation. So do not miss this opportunity. These courses are priced at 11,999. Okay, but you can avail heavy discounts by using this code SRM Live. Clear? So use this code SRM Live to avail maximum discount and so as to give the perfect shape to your UPSC preparation. Clear? Chaliye. So thank you all for joining me in this session. I hope this session was clear to you. In this session, we have discussed the basic essentials of the parliament. In the upcoming sessions, we'll be dealing with the provisions of the parliament more deeply. Clear? Chaliye. So thank you all for joining me in this session. I hope all of you would have liked this. Okay. Moreover, just remember that I've been continuing with this Smart NCERT series, okay, daily at 3 p.m. And in this series, I'm targeting all Indian Polity NCERTs from class 6 to class 12 to ensure that a basic foundation of yours is built up before you appear in the examination. Clear? So thank